There comes a moment in every person's life when the quiet truth finally becomes louder than all the excuses. You already know exactly which habit is destroying your potential. You know the pattern that steals your mornings. You know the impulse that sabotages your discipline. You know the comfort that keeps convincing you to remain the same. Weak habits don't hide in the dark. They hide in plain sight, dressed as small decisions you keep telling yourself don't matter. But every empire collapses one brick at a time, and every destiny is built or destroyed by the habits you allow to rule your day. If you want to kill a weak habit forever, you don't start with the habit. You start with the identity behind it. No one ever escaped mediocrity by trying to negotiate with their old self. You don't rise to greatness by asking your weakness to step aside. You rise when you create a version of yourself that your weakness can't survive in. People try to change their habits without changing who they believe they are, and that is why they return to the same patterns again and again. As James Allen wrote, "A man is literally what he thinks," and he'll build an entire philosophy on that truth. A weak habit is nothing more than a reflection of a weak belief. When you upgrade the belief, the habit dies on impact. Imagine standing in front of a locked door. Behind that door is the life you keep saying you want. Discipline, clarity, consistency, power. But that door doesn't open because you knock. It opens because you become the person strong enough to break it down. The key is identity. The lock is the habit. And the moment you decide, "This is not who I am anymore," you begin the process of breaking the door forever. Weak habits survive for one reason: familiarity. A habit thrives in the shadows of routine, disguised as comfort, disguised as relief, disguised as the thing you do just this once. But nothing poisons a future faster than a comfortable lie. Thomas Edison stayed awake for days chasing a solution because he understood one truth: comfort is the enemy of creation. Henry Ford failed multiple times before building the Model T because he refused to retreat into the comfort of giving up. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination. Yet he showed up the next morning and kept building because his identity was greater than the habit of doubt. What about you? What are you allowing to live inside you? The scroll that steals your first hour of the morning? The food you eat when you're stressed instead of confronting the real issue? The excuses you feed yourself at night when discipline gets heavy? The habit of procrastinating on the vision you claim matters to you? You kill a weak habit by starving its oxygen supply. The stories you tell yourself about why you cannot change. A habit is fed by repetition, yes, but it is born from belief. You cannot destroy what you secretly protect. You cannot rise above what you continually justify. There is a moment when you must look at the mirror and recognize that change is not an event. It is a declaration. The moment you say, "This ends with me." The moment you stand in the battlefield of your own mind and draw a line you refuse to cross again. Weak habits die when you make a decision so strong, so final, so uncompromising that the old version of you no longer has a home inside your future. You want to know how to destroy a habit forever? You replace it with a vision so powerful that the old behavior becomes impossible to maintain. The human mind cannot serve two masters, comfort or purpose. You must choose. You cannot chase the highest version of yourself while bowing to the weakest behaviors inside you. Every step toward growth requires a funeral, the burial of an old pattern, an old fear, an old excuse. The transformation you seek cannot begin until the habit you cling to dies without resurrection. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the person you know you're meant to be. Not the version influenced by fear or excuses. The version driven by clarity, intention, discipline, and power. See their posture. Feel their energy. Listen to their inner dialogue. Observe how they move through a day. Now tell me, does that version of you waste hours on distraction? Does that version of you procrastinate on purpose? Does that version of you follow impulses instead of intention? Of course not. Because identity shapes behavior, not the other way around. When Napoleon Hill interviewed the greatest minds of his time, Carnegie, Rockefeller, Edison, one theme stood above all. Successful people do not simply break habits. They outgrow them. Weak habits suffocate when the identity becomes stronger. They fall away like dead branches from a tree that has decided to grow taller. You don't fight the habit, you create a future so compelling that the habit cannot come with you. And here's the truth most people avoid. Change requires sacrifice. Not someday, not slowly. Now, to kill a weak habit forever, you must do what average people refuse to do. You must confront the behavior in cold daylight. You must name it. You must reject it. And then you must replace it with something so aligned with your vision that the old pattern loses all gravitational pull. Because the moment you choose purpose over comfort, the moment you decide that your future deserves more than your impulses, the moment you understand that greatness demands discipline, that is the moment the habit begins to die.